over the last week or so, I've gotten a whole bunch of comments from people alluding to a report that both Oppo and Vivo were going to be exiting the folding phone market. People were asking what I thought about this. This was a pretty crazy news story, given the fact that both of these companies have fairly recently produced some of the best foldable phones available on the market. Oppo in particular with the OnePlus Open. Yes, Oppo, OnePlus under the same banner, and those two devices, the Oppo Find N3 and the OnePlus Open, are effectively the exact same device. Oppo has just recently released, basically, one of the best received foldable phones yet. So again, this seemed very odd. Now, the reason I had not talked about this yet was because the source for this was a Korean website called hankyung.com, and I was not familiar with them, and I could not find any other sources. So I was not going to just immediately jump to conclusions and talk about this here on the channel. I'm talking about it now because we actually have something to talk about. So let's scroll down, and I'll show you the bit that was important. So here we go. As Huawei is betting on foldable phones, major Chinese smartphone operators such as Oppo and Vivo have decided to withdraw from the foldable market. So they just basically put this out there as though it's a known fact. They're not telling you who they heard this from, who their source is. They just sort of say it as though it's a fact to be accepted. And so once this kind of made the rounds, lots of publications reported on this and shared this and sort of reposted it. And that's how rumors that are not super well sourced just sort of get passed along. But we have an update to this today. We have this article from GSM Arena, and they have a direct quote from Oppo themselves. Here's the quote. Oppo's dedication to the continuous development of foldable smartphone technology remains unchanged. Please stay tuned for our official updates and announcements. So Oppo has straight up just come out and said, hey, we're not leaving the folding phone market. Our development is unchanged. Our commitment is unchanged. So we can pretty well put that article to rest. Now, of course, Vivo is yet to say anything, so we can't necessarily make a good guess on what's going on there. I would assume that if this Hank Young website was pulling things out of thin air with regard to Oppo, there's a pretty high likelihood that they were doing the exact same thing with Vivo. But again, we don't have that quote directly from Vivo to make that assessment. Now, to be clear, at the end of the day, we can't say anything with 100% certainty, right? Like, there is still an off chance that this report is accurate and Oppo is just sort of being misleading. We've seen things like that happen in the past, but at most, for now, everyone should just assume business will continue as normal because we just don't have a strong source to say anything in the other direction. So for those that were panicking that we might not see a OnePlus Open 2, as crazy as that would have been, right? Like for them to release this phone, it's great. And then Oppo, who basically made that phone, sort of exits the market. I guess there was a chance that if Oppo did exit, that basically production of the Open 2 or the Find N4 would have just moved into directly underneath OnePlus. It's complicated because, again, these two companies share so much. It's hard to say, well, if Oppo stops, does that mean OnePlus stops? Could production just move to OnePlus? What does that mean? It's difficult to say. I guess, anything could have happened. But for now, let's not panic. Let's assume that an Open 2 will be coming. I'm sure it's an active development now, so no need to panic at this moment, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. I'll see you on the next one. Until next time, stay nerdy, my friend.